Wellness Tribe. So I'm Dr. Caitlin Sazowski, and I invited a couple of my female colleagues who I admire tremendously in creating this podcast together for women and to really help women out and answer questions that we get asked all the time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take just a minute and introduce ourselves so that you know who we are. And then we'll tell you, the purpose behind this podcast and where we plan on taking it. So, Dr. Mindy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. So I'm Dr. Mindy Pelz, and I have been in practice for, I kind of stopped counting after 20 years, but I think it's about 21, 22 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like it's been two.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time totally flies. And, my specialty, I do corrective chiropractic work. I do nutritional coaching. I do detoxing, very much like you guys. The phrase I always use is I help people reset their health. There's, as you guys I'm preaching to the choir, but as you know, there's never one direct path back to wellness. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. So we, just like in your offices, we customize people's care so that they get the health that they finally deserve to get. And I'm a mom. I have 2 teenagers. I have a almost 18-year-old, which totally freaks me out. In March 1st, she will be 18. I just don't even it totally trips me out. And then I have a 15-year-old. So I took 2 maternity breaks when I gave birth to them that were very short, but otherwise I have been a working mom since day one. And I'm crazy excited about this because I felt a lot like a lone soldier as a working mom. I felt really lonely and lost a lot of times, and I have a lot of, and I don't know, Sonia, if you feel like this sometimes, I have a lot of negative talk that I'm not doing enough. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yet when you're running a practice and you're trying to stay well, it's like there's just been moments of drowning, and I'm so excited to chat with other women and really get an idea of how we all can thrive together as a tribe. So Caitlin, thank you for initiating this.
Oh, I'm just so thankful because I've wanted to for a while, and seeing you guys and knowing more about you from conferences, running in the same circle. I couldn't think of 2 better females to give information to the crowds to. So I'm so thankful we're all doing this together.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about you?
Yeah, thank you. And again, Caitlin, thank you for being the catalyst that got this together. And it's the same that Dr. Mindy was saying. It's really about bringing a tribe together. So I'm a naturopathic physician up north, literally up north right now in the mountains. so I might cut out. I'm, spending time with my family. I have 2 young boys. They're 6 and 3. So I'm really in it right now with that and my practice and another business on the side. And so, it's just what Dr. Mindy was saying. It's just when you're, on your own, or you feel like you're on your own, you have all this talk going on in your mind about not doing enough, not good enough, not worth it, not being able to put yourself first. And, when you've learned that pattern from generations before, it makes it even more challenging. Being Indo-Canadian, too, that kind of puts another twist in my story.
Interesting.
So, growing up and having to really explode those glass ceilings so that I could be the person I am today. So this really, I'm so excited about it because for women to know that there's other women out there that go through exactly what they're going through, and we're here to support one another, to elevate one another and learn from, you 2 amazing doctors who I've gotten to know. I think it's just going to be such a joy. The whole process is. So thank you. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So Caitlin, tell us your story.
Well, I'm Dr. Caitlin Sazowski, and I'm originally from Canada, so I'm tied to Dr. Sonia that way.
Yes.
I reside in the States now. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Don't fool you. This tan is in the Pacific Northwest.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, much needed vitamin D. You know, Sonia.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It is cold right now. Yeah.
But no, you know, just like you guys, I have been in practice, solo practice, well, work with my husband, but, you know, had our own office ever since graduation, which, oh my gosh, what is it going on now? 9 years. Unlike you guys, we don't have kids yet. We're hoping to have kids. So I think it's really fun that we're bringing like unique perspectives from like wanting to have kids to having young kids to having kids transitioning from like home to college years and like all the thought processes that go from, you know, me, then to Dr. Sonia, and then to Dr. Mindy. And how do we cope with it? Because honestly, I have days where all of my tools that I know what to do don't seem to work. And I just seem to get into a mindset where I'm like, seriously, like today couldn't be any worse. Everything went wrong today. And
so I hear you.
That was my day today. When
you had a beautiful story today.
Finally in here with dog poop all around.
That's the best.
So I think it's just amazing that, you know, we're able to be vulnerable and share that, you know, it happens to everybody and not every day is going to be perfect, but there's perfect moments every day, no matter how we look at it. It's just a matter of how we choose to look at it. So
perfect imperfection. Like what I like to call it.
And so much like Dr. Mindy and much like Dr. Sonia, I am a chiropractor. So we do adjustments. That's not our specific focus these days. Our specific focus is more on the nutritional counseling, doing labs to specifically customize certain protocols. So I get asked all the time, and I'm sure you do too, Dr. Mindy, so are you like a naturopath? Well, no, not necessarily. But it's just a different approach, a different means of looking at things. And just much like Dr. Mindy said, everything's very individualized because no two people are alike. Everybody's different. And you need to be treated
the analogy I've been using lately is that people need to look at their health like a puzzle. Like, you know, if you've ever done a puzzle, you separate out all the pieces, you get the border pieces out, then you do the border, then you separate out all the different colors. But, you know, you don't get frustrated because one piece doesn't fit. You have to keep working the pieces till all of a sudden, boom. So we have such a one pill, one problem mentality in our society. It just doesn't work like that.
Well, that's been the paradigm, right? So what we're trying to do is shift that paradigm.
Agreed.
So people start to really understand themselves and be their own advocate too. I think initially it was more about giving somebody else the power and telling them what to do, but we're trying to educate and elevate so that they become their own advocates and learn about themselves.
And it would be much too simple if it was, you know, oh, you have low energy, just take this pill. Do this diet. Oh, you want better sleep, just do this. Right. If only. Oh my goodness.
If it was that easy, everybody would be, you know, vibrant and healthy and the way they were
happy all the time.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Another thing that, you know, I think Dr. Mindy, I talked to you about Dr. Libby Weaver a little while ago. She coins that term, the rushing woman syndrome. I think it's kind of an epidemic that we're all going through right now, and we see in our practice a lot. So that's one of the main things we really want to talk about in these podcasts is like we're rushing everywhere to get everything done. Our mind is way over here, but our body's still here trying to catch up. And really trying to bring those pieces together so that we do feel not even happy, because I feel like happy is a result of something outside of us, but to feel actual joy and gratitude for, you know, the body that we have and what we have in our lives, and to really uplift that.
You know, I've got an old picture of Rosie the Riveter in my kitchen, and you know, she's doing this kind of thing. And every once in a while I'll pass by it, and I think, I don't know Rosie, like, I'm not sure you had it completely right. Like,
Right.
were we meant to do it all? Did we want to do it all?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's, so these are the kind of questions I want to talk about. Like, what does it mean to do it all? And when do we give a chance to not do it all? What is it okay to let go of? And, like,
and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I was just on vacation, right? So spending holidays with Alex. And it was next to impossible to not do something. Like, I have such a hard time not feeling guilty about either reading or writing a post or writing a newsletter or, and just taking time to relax. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but you know, that rushing women syndrome where you constantly feel you have to go, or you're not, you're not giving back, or you're not living to your full potential.
Yeah. And we have the tools. Yeah. Like, we have the tools, and we know that we need to take time away. And this is something we talk to our patients about, but we also go through that same struggle, right? I've been up here in the cabin now for the last couple of days, and there's moments in the day I'm like, oh, that's something I'd like to post, or whatever it is, or I'm having thoughts about the podcast or something, right? But a part of that, I think, Dr. Mindy, what you spoke about before is about being enthralled in what you love to do, then it doesn't actually feel like work. So that's something that I think we'll really talk about too, of when you're loving what you do, it's not so much that you're going, but if your relationship to it is in that sense, that's where it can start to hinder our health and our well-being.
Yeah, I think when you don't when you're going through the day and you're not loving what you're doing, it feels like work. And I know there'll probably be some women that listen to this that maybe don't love their job. And I think there's always something to find about your job or your situation that you can love. But those are the moments that I personally think you have to have something that you absolutely love. Like, I have a guilty pleasure of sitting down and watching like a Netflix series, like
we all do.
like Scandal. I sat down and watched one episode. And I was like, 6 hours later, and I'm like, what am I doing? But it was, kind of a fun little like indulgence to do. So
I'd be lying if I didn't say I've been guilty of that on numerous.
Oh, me too. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's the mind break, right? You get to really involve yourself in somebody else's story and love it. So it's fantastic. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Absolutely. So.
But let's do this, Caitlin, because you started this whole, you're the catalyst, like Dr. Sonia said, for all of this. We have each kind of talked about three reasons why we think this message is important. Do you want to kind of start with what you feel is why this podcast needs to get out to people?
Yeah, so I know for myself personally, just knowing that I'm not alone and I'm not going through the roller coaster of emotions that we feel on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, knowing that there's other people going through similar things, whether it be, like you said, not liking their job, which I love my job, so that's not it for me. But, going through struggles with your significant other, making time to have a good, meaningful relationship, or making time for yourself, or, losing weight, or, how do you take care of a family, your job, and you? Like, what is this? Like, is there such thing as balance? I actually just heard this in the beginning of December at a conference I was at. One of the speakers lovingly said, balance is bullshit.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
What is it? Like, what do you guys think about that? Is there such thing where you can totally balance everything out? And a fun fact for everybody is all three of us are Libras.
Oh, yeah!
And we need balance, right?
But is it balance? Is it possible, though? Is it
we crave
possible to have total balance in everything? Or, is something going to give a little bit when you're focusing there, and that's okay? Recognizing that and then bringing it back, and, is it constantly like a teeter-totter thing? And so my big thing is just creating a tribe. Like, I love that word, creating a tribe of helpful women who just want to feel welcome. That's really the big thing. I think, and this might just be me, part of getting older and like moving around a lot. I've moved around quite a bit, from Canada to where I went to school, to I lived in Denver for a bunch of years, to now living in the Pacific Northwest. It's really hard to find like-minded individuals who you create a connection with. So just really creating a welcoming environment for people to get the information that they want. And the big thing is that they know that they're not alone. That's really the ignition behind why I wanted to do this. How about you guys? What is the, like, when I called you guys up and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, would you be interested? What was it that got you guys going, like, this is exactly what I want to do? Or where is it that you guys would like to take it?
Yeah, I think it's what you said. You touched on it with the tribe. Like that, for me, I joke with my husband, Nick, all the time, too. I'm like a wolf. So, like I have my pack, and I want that pack to expand. Because when you have that pack and that tribe, you really are there to elevate and support each other, and really to show each other that you're worth it. Because I think that's just been trumped for so long, for so many generations, seeing it in my, generations before me and before that, and being from the culture that I am. So when you called me and was like, I want to do this together, I was like, yes, like why wouldn't we? Like why? It's almost our responsibility, I feel, in the position that we're at, to share the information that we have that can help another woman succeed in her life and be the best version of herself too. So it was a no-brainer for me. I'm like, yes, of course. I mean, two amazing women, like why wouldn't I want to share this with them? Yeah. So that was a big thing for me. A she-pack. I like it.
Woo, I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I think, and I'm even, as you were talking, Caitlin, about your vacation, the first thing I thought of was, oh my God, I didn't know, I never met anybody else that couldn't relax on vacation like that. Like, I can't, like, I think for me, there's so much feeling alone, which is really funny because I have a pack full of people in my house all the time. My kids have their friends over. I'm at the office where there's a ton of people, but I miss the connection of people that are living a life with the similar burdens or the similar priorities that I do. I don't have a lot of that. My friends that I go out and hang with, most of them are not working moms. And I love them dearly, and they don't know what it's like to walk in my shoes. And so for me, I'm craving that. I wish this had been started when my kids were much littler. I would have probably done a lot less beating myself up.
Yeah. So thank you. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. So when I have kids, I don't have to worry.
That's right.
No, you are going to be prepared.
No, and I think that's one thing that, talking to just women from different ethnicities, like I said, growing up in Canada, I was immersed in all sorts of different cultures. My uncle is from Trinidad, my best friend growing up was East Indian. And so you pick up on all sorts of different cultures. And really what it comes down to, what I feel is, as women, we put so much on ourselves to take care of everybody else but us, that we have a hard time truly connecting with others. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a book called When the Body Says No. I don't know if either one of you have read that one, and it's really focused on women. It's by Dr. Gabor Mate, and he talks about women, how he saw in his 30, 40 years of practice, like who was really getting sick. And especially with autoimmune diseases. So when you think about autoimmune, you think it's self-attacking self, right? So he was talking about how, we're just so used to it. It's innately in us to care and nurture for something else, for somebody else, before ourselves. And there's something in us that loves us so much that it's going to keep calling to us, keep whispering, keep telling us, look, you got to put yourself first so you can be there for that other person. But when we're pushing that aside, all of a sudden the body begins to yell. And it isn't until it's yelling or screaming at us that we actually seek the help. And by that point, it's never too late, but we've kind of reached a point of like no return in our minds. Then that's where we need the support. And that's where something like this can be really helpful.
Yeah. You know what, it made me realize that one of the things that I did a couple of years ago that really helped me was create some like scheduled downtime. So like Friday afternoon is when I'll go to a Netflix series, and Friday night I pretty much say no to any social engagement on Friday night or Sunday night, because like those are the nights like Friday night I just need to decompress, Sunday night like I need to get ready for the work week. So I try to give myself some boundaries around that, so that when it's Friday afternoon I don't have to feel that guilt. I can just say, oh, I can watch, 10 episodes of Scandal if I want.
Yeah, it's my time.
It's my time. It sounds
exactly.
Like I need to get back into that series.
I haven't tried it yet, so I'm going to have to now.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's horribly addictive. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So, are you actually saying that it's okay to say no?
Oh, my God. So, I had this realization of, yes. When my kids were little, I was like that movie Yes Man, I'd be like, yes, 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 yes. And then I realized that when you put all these things that seem fun together in one week, back to back to back to back, none of them are fun. They're horrible. And so I had to learn to say no. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And it was really for me to be able to say, and I told my husband too, I was like, Friday nights, we're just not going out unless it's something amazing, or it's like somebody's birthday, like a 50th birthday or something like that. But otherwise, I am like sitting on the couch doing nothing from about 4 o'clock on. So don't ask me to do anything.
It's funny that you say that, because people always think, well, I love cooking, but if there's days where I don't want to cook. And so on Fridays, I don't want to go anywhere though. So what we'll do is we'll actually pick up food and eat it at home with our dogs, because one, I'm too exhausted from the week to even think about going out and socializing and
that's
conversing. But it's nice knowing that I'm not the only one who's just like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
And part of me is going, is it because I'm just getting old, or what?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Oh yeah.
I think it's hard when you have a social.
Yeah.
When you're around people all day, it's like sometimes I don't really want to be around people at night.
Yeah, you just want to, we're so culturally ingrained to be external all the time, extroverted all the time, but we need that time to really listen to our inner voice, right? And have that time to ourselves so we can reset, like your word. Yeah, you want to use that Friday to reset yourself so that you can be, and actually enjoy yourself, because if you go out Friday night, you're miserable Saturday morning, the joy of that evening is gone, right? Totally so gone. Then what's the point? Yeah, it's better just to say no and be there when you actually want to be there, and be completely present and enjoy the little moments, right?
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. So,
Sonia, what were some of your reasons that you wanted wanted to do this, and why you felt it was needed?
So the big one really was the tribe, really needing that, because I, growing up felt alone a lot, similar to what you guys were saying. My train of thinking was always just a little bit different. And growing up in a culture where as soon as, you're a woman, you're not really revered. The men are. So constantly you're kind of fighting your way through like the glass ceilings, and I even did that with my profession of being a naturopathic physician in a more allopathic world, right? So I'm feeling like constantly I'm kind of doing that and striving for more, and not so much more in like accumulating more, but more depth, like more heart.
Yeah, agreed.
And really being able to share that and joy, because really life is so short.
Yeah.
So why live it in fear? Why live it in anger? Why do that? But when I see women around me doing that, living in fear and not feeling like they're worth the abundance, and I see it's painful for me. And I remember one time I was going to Haiti to do some volunteering. Like I always had this thought that I had to go somewhere else to save the world. I had to go out there to, really make a difference. And I remember that week before I was leaving, all of a sudden all these women were coming to see me, that were having real troubles, and there were, you know, we call them first world problems. I really don't like that, because there are problems, whatever it is.
Right.
It's your problem, right? And it's okay to have that. Yeah. And so I was seeing that, I was like, oh wait, this is happening in my backyard. You know, it's not about going out there, it's about like right here, and being able to just provide a platform for women to feel safe, to feel vulnerable, and to be able to be transparent so they can share themselves. Because the minute we do that and we're authentic and we're speaking heart to heart, we're our true selves, and nothing else matters. So that was a big thing for me. It's like just, helping women be the best version of themselves. And that helps me. I'm doing it for selfish reasons. Because when I tell you what to do, right? Yeah, and then I have to do it myself. Exactly. Yeah, and like, you know, being alongside you two as well, like it makes me rise up.
Yeah.
Like I saw you did a Facebook post, I think, before you came onto this call. I was like, I just love that woman. Yes, I'm going to strive to be that, you know? So it makes you rise up, right? Or surrounding yourself with other women that are rising up too. So yeah, that's why I think it's really important.
Yeah, and for me, I think the vulnerability is really important, because I have a tendency to look around at other people and go, God, I should be I should be as good as that. And I heard somebody say one time, don't compare your tough moments to somebody else's highlight reel. And I realized that I spend a lot of time, especially with other women, I look at their lives, and working women, and I go, God, they seem to have it all. And they seem like they're managing it all. And I'm over here like a hot mess with dog poop on my ground. And my kitchen is a mess right now. And why can't I get my stuff together? And so I think you both said this. I love the just letting the shield down, just let the mask go, and just you know, I always tell people, like, here I am in all my messiness, like love me or don't hang out with me.
Totally.
But I really do not want to come across as I've got everything figured out, or as if I'm perfect in any way, because I'm struggling as much as everybody else, trying to be the best version of me that I can be.
Yeah, and it's not even about like bringing us, because I think that's also, I think Tony Robbins talks about it being an addiction, where somebody else is going through something, we lower ourselves to match their vibration. Instead it's about like bringing up their vibration too, together, to be like, hey, look, let's hold hands and raise the vibration together instead of sinking in it.
That
very
is
cool.
A big thing that I find women do. When somebody's having a hard time, it's always like, okay, you have this, but I'm dealing with this, which is, you know, either worse or not as bad. And so I find that women have the tendency to either make themselves try and feel better by comparing themselves to individuals who are going through something worse, or belittling what they're going through because somebody's dealing with something, you know, more significant, their perspective of how things you know, fall into place significant wise. Dr. Brene Brown does.
I was thinking about her.
I was just reading her book before this.
And so I think really the big thing for me is knowing that I'm not alone. I don't have all my ducks in a row all the time. You know, I don't always wake up early and have everything done by, you know, 9 a.m. And sometimes I have dishes in the sink for 3 days before I get to them.
Me too.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. They will get cleaned one day.
Yeah, someday.
It's okay. Yeah, someday it will happen. So what would be a tangible tip then for us to give the listeners? Like, what can they do today to start their journey on that self-worth path and, you know, doing something for them? What do you guys think?
Well, I'm like you. I'm a big, like, tribe lover. Like, why are we trying to do it alone? Which, again, is why I love this idea of bringing women together that are working, that are on you know, varying degrees of a mother path, or trying to become a mother, and are you know, trying to stay healthy at the same time. Because that I can tell you, in my office, I see a lot of people that are like, screw the health. Like, they're like, push it off to the side because they're like struggling with these other two things. But, you know, the three of us, we've been working on how to balance those three. So just the tip to me would be engage in the tribe. Engage in this. We're going to have a Facebook page. Invite people who are going through this process together. My real recommendation is like put the mask down and just be you. And it doesn't mean be like mopey you. Like you said, you don't. But I think it's really important for us all to be real, because when we are real, then we give everybody else the reason to be real around us.
One thing that I think is important is
permission.
Yeah, well, permission, but also to give yourself permission to feel worthy. Like you are worth it. And there's times where you have to put other things ahead of you, but you can't just forget about you, because if you do and you constantly put yourself on the back burner, you're going to have nothing to give anybody. Your family, your job, your pets, your passion, whatever it may be. And so
your marriage,
marriage, whatever it may be. And so really just giving yourself not only permission to be vulnerable and be okay with not having everything perfect all the time, but worthy to have whatever it is that you want.
Because you are worth it. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with both of you. It's the self-worth, it's being vulnerable, bringing the mask down so you can share your truest self. And then, awesome. That's how we're going to change the world.
So what can people expect from tuning into the Women in Wellness podcast? Like what is it that we are going to be sharing with them in weeks to come?
So I think there were a couple ideas that we all had. I think we want to interview people. We want to bring on some people who can not only are good examples of, now I don't want to use the word balance. I'm scared to use that.
Making things work.
That are enjoying the chaos of their abundant life.
In gratitude. In gratitude of what they have and what they're doing.
So I think we want to bring some people on. I also love, we've come up with that structure of every month having a different topic, because even if you put our three like doctor brains together here, we've got a tremendous amount of information to share with people on how to make health, build health into this. So I love some of the topics we have, like hormones. Like, can we please talk about hormones? And,
absolutely.
Things like that would be really important.
Yeah, heart disease in women, it's not talked about, so we're really going to talk about things that aren't normally talked about with women. And, your questions, so the listeners' questions, they can write them on our Facebook group so that we can also cover those throughout the weeks too. Yeah, so really, and also, what's going on in the world today with women, what they're facing and like the real stuff.
It's one I find, I just thought about this right now, it's one that I hear women say all the time. Well, there's two of them. One is energy. They're just, for this genre of person, the energy is like, people are bragging. And then the other one people don't talk about is depression. And anxiety, I think, is an interesting one to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many different topics. And one thing that I really want to, I really hope that we can do for anybody that's listening is provide them either steps or tools that they can easily implement. And the tools can be varying, right? Like it can be from really simple to more advanced. And they can pick where they fall and what they're looking for, just to, I don't necessarily know if the word improve is the right one, but to take them at least in the direction that they're wanting to go. With, family, work, self, life.
All of it.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because one of the maybe negative sides that women can do is there can be a little bit of that bitch session. And I think that, and I don't know if anything good comes out of a bitch session.
I agree. Because we can egg each other on, right? Someone, especially with relationships, my husband, da-da-da, my boyfriend, da-da-da-da, and the other person, No, instead of like else. So I know. Yeah, so really helping elevate people out of it.
Yeah, and so the steps I think are good. Like if we're tackling a problem, then and giving people action steps, I think is really important. That we don't end up that people are finding that they can relate. They're finding useful tools here, but then they're feeling like they're moving forward. They're not getting stuck in their own challenges.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, and then we decided Wednesdays we were going to. You will find the Women in Wellness podcast will be launched on iTunes, and we are going to have a Facebook group that we will be inviting people to. So if you're listening to this and you want to include people into it, I mean, this is one of those things. The bigger, the better. The more people on the tribe, the more hearts that and minds we have in this, the better off. So we'd love to hear from you. If you're listening to this, we'd love to hear from you. We want to know what you want to know more about. Maybe we can make it a goal to bring Brene Brown on to.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, that's our goal. We're going to manifest Brene Brown. Yeah. Okay.
Good. She has time for us. I think the three of us could make that happen.
I think so.
And I think honestly, the only criteria is that you're a female, you're a woman that's looking for a place where you're welcome, where you don't feel that you're alone. And no matter what age, where you are in life, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're, high-end go business professional without the family and trying to figure out how do you date or whatever it may be, although none of us are in the dating scene anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have no dating advice.
I'm sure we could find somebody and bring them on that can help.
Yes, we will find someone.
But, you're welcome, and there's no problem too small. There's no problem, too big. And if it's something where, the three of us don't know what to do, we'll try and find somebody that is going through it or that has advice on it. And really, I think the big thing the three of us are looking for is to bring women up and to make them feel good, right? Like I won't personally tolerate belittling of somebody else. That is one thing that is not going to be what the Women in Wellness, for me anyway, is going to be about. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
fully agree.
Yeah.
And
just and you brought up a good point. What I always tell patients when I'm working with them is behind me is a team of amazing, knowledgeable, loving, resourceful people. And I think that's what I see this community or this tribe being, is that. So whether it's emotional support, physical support, whatever it is, I agree. It was very well said, Caitlin. Very well said.
Like really see this as a safe place to land.
Yeah.
Because we all need that. We need that safe place where we can be ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, you're great. I'm excited. I can't wait to have more conversations, and we will talk next week.
Perfect. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah.